Enterprises. This is Paul Nowak. He's an owner as well as founder in Harvest, which we're going to be operating our facility. As far as the update on construction, we have mobilized and commenced work on site. We're anticipating that we'll be complete with construction in Q2. And then we're going to be doing a phased-in approach so that we can make sure that we meet market demand, and I'll let Paul start talking about how we're going to be phasing that in, as he has a lot of experience with deployment of our facilities in other states and how we do that phased-in approach so that we meet market requirements.
So when you say construction, you mean second quarter 2019?
Yes.
So you're talking construction being done April, May-ish, and then you're going to get in your growth cycle.
But we'll be phasing in. We'll have security segregation on site so that we can start phasing in the propagation process, so that then, as we're concurrently completing construction, we're actually moving into vegetation.
Right. So the plan is to, and this is what we've done elsewhere, is to watch the progress of the dispensaries and demand, obviously. And if it's necessary to start quicker to get plants in the ground so that it is available after that cycle, and our cycle is 110 to 120 days, we would do a phased delivery of the certificates of occupancy, working with Warren's team, so that we can get those specific areas, the propagation areas and the vegetated rooms, online and populated before actual construction is 100% complete.
Have you guys broken ground yet?
Yes.
Okay.
But you're still looking at, you're talking about just trying to grow just a small portion where you're still constructing the rest of your facility. Is that?
So sort of. So the process is propagation and building up that plant stock, vegetative growth. While that propagation, those areas would be complete, and we would occupy those. They would be completely segregated from any other activities that were going on. It would basically be the flower rooms that would be constructed to move that timeline up. So the flowers,
you can maintain security while you're
absolutely growing it. Yeah. And this is what we've done in the past to expedite delivery. And I think it's important to note too, and one of our more recent experiences has been exactly the opposite problem, where we delivered the project, we populated it 100%, and we grew, started turning our harvest over. You know, we harvest on a five-day perpetual cycle, and we immediately built up a back stock so significant that we had to lay off half of the staff and shut down half of the building. So obviously we're trying to marry up the right, meeting the demand.
Do you have walls? I mean, do you have anything up?
No, we just broke ground.
In your application, what was your time to complete construction?
249 days.
So you're not on track?
According to, from the time of June 21st, there was some additional clarification where we had to work with the commission on our particular site. I think that's been worked out, so we can now commence. That's what's enabled us to proceed with construction on site. So the greenhouse has been ordered and is scheduled for delivery in late January, and then we'll be working to get construction complete, like I said, in Q2.
You talk about propagation happening kind of concurrently. What kind of volume are you thinking you're going to be able to propagate, even though you're not totally in the facility?
So when we talk about the not being completely in the facility, even if the facility was 100% completely built out before we moved the first, the source to start those plants, before that moved in, we wouldn't be occupying that complete facility until completion of the first round, which would be 12 weeks. So what we're proposing to do, if the demand is there and it becomes necessary, is to just open up the areas for the early growth of the plants and move the plants into there and start doing that while we're finishing out the flower areas, which wouldn't be populated anyway until probably 6 to 8 weeks past the original plants starting.
We're designing the facility that we can actually meet the entire demand of the license holders that are in their entirety, the number of license holders that are out there right now. And so we probably will not even fill our entire vegetated floor at the beginning because the number of license holders is not sufficient for the amount of size that we're
I think the license holder, I mean, just speaking from the medical standpoint, being in pain management, that, you know, I'm not certifying any patients because, like I said, the patient's going to pay money or whatever, and if there's no product out there, so I think there's a holdback, I think from a lot of doctors that I've talked to that, I mean, like I sit there and have a discussion with the patient when there's nothing available, you know, so hopefully those, yeah, I mean, 6,000 is not going to get it, it's not going to support an industry. But hopefully that picks up, but the confidence of, you know, my patients come first in everything I do, so I'm not gonna, you know, oh, here, you know, send money to the health department or whatever when there's no product, so hopefully that does pick up. But some of that is based on when you guys, everything gets up and going, there's actually product available, and obviously all the politics and stuff that goes on with this. But hopefully I think those numbers will go up.
Now, fortunately, we have a lot of experience in some other states where we see that ramp-up period, and so we'll be able to map our vegetation growth, filling in the floor with those historical cycles.
And obviously, the intent here would be to stay close with the commission, and as this continues to expand and the patient numbers increase, you know, so that we can be ahead of that and meet that demand.
There's a lot of patients asking, a lot.
Sure.
Cancer patients, and you know, it'd be ideal for them, you know, particularly sooner the better for a lot of cancer patients. And they don't have that kind of time. They don't have the luxury of time, you know,
So when exactly do you think that, you say second quarter, when do you think exactly you'll be up and operational? I mean, you're talking about
that question is product leaving the facility.
Grow. When do you think that you'll be growing? Do you think, just, I'm not gonna hold you to this, but
Sure.
Are you thinking March, or are you thinking June?
We're targeting April to start growing.
Okay. And you mentioned a phase-in period. How many strains do you anticipate starting with in your phase-in period?
Yeah, so we would be in the neighborhood of 25 strains ideally to start with. And again, working with the commission, whatever feedback that we can get on those conditions to help us make those decisions. Understanding more information would be better.
that will be interesting because the medical data is all over the place, right? And obviously there's a lot of marketing involved, but the best studies will be when you have patients with bone mets, or they have it's an amputee with phantom limb. These kind of things, and figure out. To me, the feedback I'll get is when I have an amputee who tries marijuana, or I have a cancer patient, and I get the feedback that says, yeah, because I'm going to learn from them. Because all the data out there is really not reliable, right? And if there's opportunity to do, if you get a good medical thing going, you start getting more scientific about what helps for what specific condition. You get into the chronic pain world, you get into your traumatic brain injury, you've got chronic migraines, you've got cancer, you've got bone mets versus spinal cord injury, et cetera. So it'll be interesting to see what strains are actually effective. And the learning curve will actually come, from my standpoint, from the patients. You can read conflicting stuff, but I've read it all, it's sure. But I think hopefully it'll be a benefit to the patients.
At what point do you see, and maybe the right answer to this is, do y'all have an approximation of, based on how many cards that are issued when you get to the decision of actually starting the growth cycle, let's say that's April time frame, how many cards versus how much capacity you're actually going to use? And right now, if there's I think they said 7,000 patients. Does that mean that you would be at a 10% capacity, a 50% capacity? How do y'all see that shaking out?
We would probably start in the 50% range, just to have the varieties, and at some point growing a very small amount. There's a loss of efficiencies by doing that. So we would probably start with half capacity if the numbers were around where they are right now.
And how many plants do you foresee being able to grow in your space, size-wise?
So I haven't added this up in a little while, give me just a second. There will be, I believe, somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,000, I believe.
And that's at 50% capacity?
That would be 100%.
That would be at
Yes,
100%.
sorry if I misspoke.
So I just want to get this straight. So you'll have final product basically a year from when you implement it.
It would be if my math is right, in the July timeframe.
Okay.